Earth was at its peak. It wasn't perfect, no place ever is, but humanity had come so far. Skyscrapers pierced the clouds, self-driving cars zipped through clean streets, and colonies on Mars were no longer science fiction but reality. Scientists had cracked quantum computing, unlocking doors to technologies once thought impossible. People dreamed big. They talked about exploring distant stars, curing every disease, and living forever. For the first time in history, it felt like humans were unstoppable. But deep in space, something stirred. It started with a signal. At first, astronomers dismissed it as cosmic noise, a random burst of energy from some dying star billions of light-years away. But then another signal came, and another, each one stronger than the last, each one closer to Earth. These weren't natural. Someone, or something, was sending them. Dr. Elena Voss, an astrophysicist working at a remote observatory in Chile, was among the first to notice. Her team spent weeks analyzing the data, trying to make sense of it. "It's not random," she told her colleagues during a late-night meeting. "These signals are deliberate. They're calling us." Her words sent shivers down everyone's spines. Calling them. What did that even mean? Were they friendly? Hostile? No one knew. Governments around the world scrambled to respond. Satellites turned their lenses toward the sky, scanning for anything unusual. Military radar systems went on high alert. News outlets buzzed with speculation, but officials remained tight-lipped, refusing to confirm or deny anything. Then, one fateful morning, the unthinkable happened. The alien fleet appeared without warning. Massive ships, sleek and black like obsidian, materialized just beyond Earth's atmosphere. There were hundreds of them, maybe thousands, blotting out the sun over entire continents. Cities froze as people stared upward, phones raised to capture the moment. Social media exploded with videos and photos. Was this real? A hoax? An invasion? For hours, the fleet simply hovered there, silent and motionless. Humanity held its breath, waiting for something, anything, to happen. Leaders tried communicating via radio waves, laser pulses, even flashing lights in Morse code. Nothing worked. The aliens didn't reply. They didn't move. It was as if they were studying Earth, sizing it up. Fear began to creep in. In New York City, crowds gathered in Times Square, staring at massive screens showing live footage of the ships. In Tokyo, families huddled together, whispering prayers. In small towns across Africa and South America, people lit candles under starless skies, hoping for divine intervention. By nightfall, panic had set in. Grocery stores emptied. Banks closed. Airports canceled flights. Rumors spread faster than facts. Some claimed the aliens were gods returning to judge humanity. Others said they were here to harvest resources, or worse, enslave mankind. Conspiracy theories ran wild online, fueled by fear and ignorance. And still, the fleet waited. No one slept that night. Not the scientists frantically searching for answers, not the soldiers readying weapons they weren't sure would work, and certainly not the billions of ordinary people glued to their screens, watching and praying. What did the aliens want? Why were they here? Would tomorrow bring peace or destruction? As dawn broke over Earth, the question lingered unanswered. But deep in her lab, Elena noticed something strange. The signals hadn't stopped. If anything, they were growing stronger. Whatever the aliens planned, it was coming soon. Too soon. Humanity braced itself. Would you like me to continue writing part 2 in the same style? At exactly 6:47 a.m. Greenwich Mean Time, the alien fleet moved. Without warning, the massive ships descended closer to Earth's atmosphere, their dark surfaces shimmering like oil slicks under the sun. For a brief moment, humanity dared to hope. Maybe this was it, the moment of first contact. Perhaps the aliens were finally ready to talk. They weren't. Without so much as a sound or a signal, beams of blinding energy shot out from the alien ships. They struck military bases, power plants, and communication hubs with terrifying precision. In seconds, entire cities went dark. Skyscrapers crumbled. Planes fell from the sky. The world erupted into chaos. In New York City, Times Square became a war zone. Giant screens flickered off as the alien beam hit nearby infrastructure. People screamed, running in every direction. Cars crashed into each other, creating blockades of twisted metal. Smoke filled the air, choking those who tried to escape. Similar scenes played out across the globe, from London to Tokyo, from Sydney to Rio de Janeiro. No place was safe. Commander Marcus Hale watched helplessly as his team scrambled to respond. He stood inside NORAD's underground command center, surrounded by flashing red lights and panicked voices shouting orders. "We're blind," someone yelled. "All radar systems are down." "Launch interceptors," Marcus barked, though he knew it wouldn't matter. Fighter jets had already been deployed earlier that morning when the fleet first appeared, but they hadn't even scratched the alien ships. Their weapons bounced harmlessly off invisible shields. Still, humanity couldn't just sit there and do nothing. The interceptors streaked toward the nearest alien vessel, firing missiles loaded with Earth's most advanced explosives. But before the missiles could connect, the alien ship unleashed another energy blast, vaporizing the planes midair. Pilots died instantly, their final transmissions cutting off abruptly. Back at NORAD, Marcus clenched his fists, jaw tight. Humanity's best efforts were useless against these invaders. Meanwhile, far away in Chile, Dr. Elena Voss worked feverishly in her lab. She'd been analyzing data nonstop since the fleet arrived, determined to find some weakness, some clue about what they were dealing with. When news broke of the attacks, she barely looked up from her computer screen. Her hands trembled as she typed furiously, poring over readings from satellites and ground-based sensors. Then she saw it, a pattern. Every time one of the alien beams struck Earth, it left behind trace amounts of an unknown element. It wasn't natural. Not anything found on Earth, anyway. This was alien tech, embedded in the wreckage of destroyed buildings and charred landscapes. Elena zoomed in on the data, heart racing. Could this be the key to fighting back? She grabbed her phone and dialed the emergency line for NORAD. After several tense rings, Marcus answered gruffly. "This better be important." "It is," Elena said quickly. "I found something. They're weapons. They leave residue, something we can study. If I'm right, this could give us a way to fight them." Marcus hesitated. He wanted to believe her, but hope felt dangerous right now. Still, they had nothing else to go on. "Where do we find it?" he asked. Elena hesitated, then replied, "The impact sites, anywhere their beams hit." By the time Marcus ended the call, reports were flooding in from all corners of the globe. Cities burned. Billions huddled in fear, unsure if they'd live to see tomorrow. And yet, amidst the destruction, a glimmer of possibility emerged. Somewhere in the ruins lay the answer to defeating the invaders, if humanity could reach it in time. Would you like me to continue writing part 3 in the same style? The world was falling apart, but humanity wasn't ready to give up. Not yet. Inside a secure underground bunker near Geneva, Switzerland, leaders from every corner of the globe gathered for an emergency summit. The room buzzed with tension as generals, scientists, and politicians argued over what to do next. Screens on the walls displayed live footage of burning cities, fleeing civilians, and the alien fleet looming ominously above Earth. "We can't fight them," one general said, slamming his fist on the table. "Their shields are impenetrable. Our weapons are useless." "Then what do you suggest?" snapped another voice. "We roll over and let them take whatever they want." "No," interrupted Dr. Elena Voss, stepping forward. Her presence commanded attention despite her calm demeanor. She had been invited to present her findings about the mysterious alien element left behind by their attacks. Now, standing before the most powerful people on Earth, she knew this might be humanity's last chance. Elena clicked a button, and a holographic image appeared in the center of the room. It showed the alien element, a glowing crystalline substance that seemed almost alive under the microscope. "This is what we're dealing with," she explained. "Every time their beams strike Earth, they leave traces of this material. I believe it's part of their technology, possibly even the key to their shields." A murmur rippled through the room. Some looked skeptical. Others leaned forward, intrigued. "If we can study this element," Elena continued, "we might be able to reverse engineer it, use it against them. But there's a problem." She paused, letting the weight of her words sink in. "The only way to get more of it is by extracting it directly from their weapons or their ships." The room fell silent. Everyone understood what she was saying. Someone would have to go into the heart of enemy territory. Someone would have to retrieve it. Commander Marcus Hale stood up. His face was grim, but his voice carried authority. "I'll lead the mission," he said firmly. "Give me a team, and we'll bring back whatever you need." Elena nodded gratefully, though her expression remained serious. "There's no guarantee this will work. And even if it does, it won't be easy. Their drones patrol everywhere. Getting close enough to extract the element could cost lives." Marcus didn't flinch. "We don't have a choice. If this is our only shot at fighting back, then we take it." Over the next few hours, plans were drawn up. Marcus handpicked a small team of elite operatives, soldiers, engineers, and survival experts, all willing to risk everything for the mission. Among them was Lieutenant Sarah Chen, a brilliant engineer who specialized in alien tech; Captain Raj Patel, a seasoned pilot known for his quick reflexes; and Corporal Liam O'Connor, a demolitions expert with nerves of steel. Meanwhile, Elena worked tirelessly to prepare them. She provided detailed maps of known crash sites where remnants of alien drones had fallen during the initial attack. One such site lay deep in the Amazon rainforest, far from prying eyes. Satellite images showed pieces of a downed drone half buried in the dense jungle. It was risky, but it offered the best chance of success. As the team geared up, Marcus addressed them one final time. "This isn't just about us," he said, his gaze steady. "It's about everyone out there, every person hiding in fear, hoping we'll find a way to stop these invaders. We fail, and Earth falls. We succeed." He trailed off, letting the unspoken possibility hang in the air. No one spoke. They didn't need to. Each member of the team knew the stakes. Failure meant extinction. Success meant hope, not just for themselves, but for all of humanity. With that, they boarded a stealth transport aircraft bound for Brazil. As the plane soared into the night sky, the alien fleet loomed larger than ever outside the windows. Its dark ships seemed endless, a reminder of the overwhelming odds stacked against them. But beneath the fear and uncertainty, something else burned within the team: determination. Humanity had always risen to meet its greatest challenges. This time would be no different. Would you like me to continue writing part 4 in the same style? The jungle was alive with sound. Birds chirped, insects buzzed, and leaves rustled in the humid breeze. But beneath the natural symphony lay something unnatural, a massive, twisted hulk of alien metal half buried in the earth. The team stood at the edge of the clearing, their weapons ready, eyes scanning for danger. "This is it," Marcus whispered, pointing to the wreckage. The drone's sleek black surface glistened faintly under the filtered sunlight, its edges jagged where it had broken apart during the crash. Strange symbols etched into its surface pulsed faintly, as if alive. It looked more like a creature than a machine, its biomechanical design blending organic tissue with advanced technology. Sarah Chen stepped forward, her engineering scanner humming softly as she examined the drone. "It's still active," she murmured, glancing nervously at Marcus. "Some systems are operational. We need to be careful." "Careful won't save us if those things show up," Liam muttered, gripping his rifle tightly. He nodded toward the sky, where distant shapes occasionally darted between the trees. The alien patrol drones, So far, they hadn't noticed the team, but it was only a matter of time. Raj Patel crouched nearby, keeping watch while Sarah and Marcus worked on accessing the core of the drone. Using tools specially designed by Alina, they began prying open a section of the hull. Sparks flew as metal groaned under the pressure, revealing a glowing chamber inside. At its center sat a crystalline object pulsating with an eerie blue light. The alien element. "That's it," Sarah said, her voice trembling with excitement. "If we can extract this, we might have a chance." But just as she reached for the crystal, the ground shook violently. A loud hissing noise filled the air, followed by a series of sharp clicks that echoed through the jungle. The drone wasn't dead. It was waking up. "Fall back," Marcus shouted, shoving Sarah away from the wreckage. The team scrambled backward as the drone's remaining systems powered on. Its surface rippled like liquid, shifting and reforming. Then, with a deafening screech, it unleashed a burst of energy that sent shockwaves through the clearing. Liam fired his weapon instinctively, but the bullets ricocheted harmlessly off the drone's shimmering shield. "We're sitting ducks out here," he yelled, diving behind a fallen tree. "We need that core," Marcus barked, pulling a small EMP device from his belt. "Cover me." Raj and Liam opened fire, drawing the drone's attention while Marcus sprinted toward the exposed chamber. Sweat dripped down his face as he activated the EMP, holding it close to the core. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, with a blinding flash, the drone's systems sputtered and died. The pulsating light faded, leaving the jungle eerily silent once again. "Got it," Marcus shouted, grabbing the crystal and stuffing it into a protective case. But their victory was short-lived. Above them, the unmistakable hum of alien patrol drones grew louder. "They're coming," Raj warned, pointing skyward. 3 sleek ships descended rapidly, their weapons charging. "There's no time," Marcus ordered. "Move." The team bolted into the dense jungle, dodging roots and vines as the alien drones unleashed beams of energy that scorched the ground behind them. Trees exploded into flames, forcing them to zigzag frantically. Despite their speed, the drones were relentless, closing in fast. Just when it seemed all hope was lost, Raj spotted their transport waiting ahead, its engines already running. "Go, go," he yelled, urging everyone forward. One by one, they leaped aboard as Raj gunned the throttle. The aircraft lifted off just as the alien drones unleashed another volley of fire, narrowly missing them. As they soared above the treetops, Marcus clutched the case containing the alien element tightly, his heart pounding. They had succeeded, but barely. And as the alien fleet loomed larger in the distance, Marcus couldn't shake the feeling that this was only the beginning. "Would you like me to continue writing Part 5 in the same style?" Back at the underground lab, tension hung thick in the air. The team had barely escaped the jungle with their lives, and now all eyes were on the glowing alien crystal safely locked inside a containment chamber. Dr. Elena Voss stood over it, her face illuminated by its faint blue light. She wore gloves as she carefully adjusted sensors around the core, her movements precise but hurried. "We don't have much time," she reminded herself aloud, glancing at the clock ticking on the wall. Outside, reports poured in of escalating attacks from the alien fleet. Cities burned brighter than ever, and entire regions were being wiped off the map. Every second counted. As Sarah Chen joined her, Alina explained what they were dealing with. "This isn't just material, it's alive. It reacts to energy fields, adapts to stimuli, almost like it's thinking." Sarah frowned, studying the readings on her tablet. "So, you're saying this thing could change itself based on how we use it?" "Exactly," Alina replied. "Which means if we can harness its adaptive properties, we might be able to create a weapon capable of penetrating their shields. But," she hesitated, her voice dropping, "it requires an enormous amount of power, more than anything we currently have access to." Commander Marcus Hale entered the lab, his boots echoing against the cold metal floor. His expression was grim, but there was determination in his eyes. "How bad is it?" he asked bluntly. Elena turned to him. "Bad. To activate this thing properly, we'd need energy equivalent to multiple nuclear reactors running simultaneously, or better yet, direct power from the sun." Marcus raised an eyebrow. "The sun? You mean solar panels?" "No," Elena corrected. "I'm talking about tapping into raw solar energy using experimental orbital arrays. They'd been tested before, but never at this scale. If we redirect that energy through the crystal, it could amplify our weapons enough to take down their shields." Marcus crossed his arms, considering the plan. "Sounds risky. What are the odds it'll work?" Elena sighed. "Not great. Maybe 50-50. But right now, it's the only shot we've got." Without hesitation, Marcus nodded. "Then let's do it." Over the next 48 hours, humanity mobilized like never before. Engineers worked around the clock to modify existing orbital solar arrays, rerouting their systems to focus energy on Earth. Scientists collaborated globally, sharing data and simulations to optimize the weapon design. Meanwhile, military forces prepared for one final stand: a coordinated assault aimed at delivering the prototype weapon directly to the alien mothership. In the lab, Elena and Sarah pushed themselves to their limits. They integrated the alien crystal into a sleek, handheld device designed to emit pulses of adaptive energy. Testing revealed promising results. When activated, the weapon disrupted small-scale shields created in controlled environments. However, scaling up the effect required far more power than anyone had anticipated. As the deadline approached, tensions ran high. Exhaustion etched deep lines into everyone's faces, but no one dared rest. The fate of Earth rested on their shoulders. Finally, the day came. The orbital arrays were aligned, ready to channel solar energy toward the weapon. A countdown began in mission control, each second ticking closer to either salvation or annihilation. Elena stared at the weapon, her mind racing. Was this really going to work, or had they gambled everything on a desperate hope? Before she could dwell further, Marcus walked up beside her. "Whatever happens next," he said quietly, "you gave us a fighting chance. That's more than anyone else could have done." Elena forced a smile, though fear lingered in her eyes. "Let's just hope it's enough." Above them, the alien fleet loomed larger than ever, its ships darker, angrier, and more menacing. Humanity's last stand was about to begin. Would you like me to continue writing part 6 in the same style? The clock was ticking. Humanity's final plan was set into motion, and everyone knew there would be no second chances. The orbital solar arrays hummed with redirected energy, channeling raw sunlight toward Earth. In the underground lab, Elena Voss and her team worked tirelessly to ensure the weapon powered by the alien crystal was ready for deployment. Outside, soldiers prepared for what could only be described as a suicide mission, flying directly into the heart of the alien fleet to deliver the weapon. But not everyone shared their determination. In a dimly lit conference room deep within the same bunker, General Harold Grayson sat alone, staring at classified documents spread across the table. His face was pale, his hands trembling slightly as he weighed the impossible choice before him. For days, he'd wrestled with doubt. Could humanity truly win against such overwhelming odds? Even if they succeeded in disabling the alien shields, how many more lives would be lost? And what then? Would the invaders simply retreat, or retaliate with even greater force? A knock on the door startled him. "Sir," came a voice from outside. It was Lieutenant Colonel Rebecca Holt, one of his most trusted advisors. She entered cautiously, closing the door behind her. "We need your authorization to proceed with the launch sequence." Grayson hesitated, his gaze dropping to the papers in front of him. Among them was a secret communication intercepted days earlier, an encrypted message sent by an unknown party within Earth's leadership. The message contained blueprints of the weapon and details about the orbital array system. Someone had leaked humanity's last hope to the enemy. "Do you think we can win this?" Grayson asked quietly, avoiding eye contact. Rebecca frowned. With all due respect, sir, that doesn't matter anymore. We have to try. If we don't fight back now, we lose everything. Grayson sighed, rubbing his temples. And if fighting back means total annihilation, what then? Before Rebecca could respond, the truth dawned on her. You already made your decision, didn't you? Her voice hardened. Who did you tell? Grayson looked up, guilt etched across his face. I contacted representatives from the alien fleet. I gave them our plans, hoping they'd see reason. Maybe negotiate peace instead of continuing this slaughter. You betrayed us. Rebecca snapped, her voice rising despite herself. They're not here to talk. They're here to conquer. I had to do something. Grayson shot back, slamming his fist on the table. This weapon is our only chance, but it's also a death sentence for billions if it fails. At least this way, maybe, just maybe, we can avoid further bloodshed. Rebecca stepped back, disgusted. Without another word, she turned and left the room, heading straight for Commander Marcus Hale. When she found him, she wasted no time explaining what she'd discovered. Marcus listened in stunned silence, his fists clenched so tightly his knuckles turned white. Are you sure about this? He demanded. Absolutely, Rebecca replied. He's been leaking intel to the aliens. He thinks he's saving us, but he's dooming us instead. Marcus didn't hesitate. He stormed into the conference room where Grayson still sat, brooding over his choices. The general looked up, startled, as Marcus slammed the door shut behind him. What the hell were you thinking? Marcus growled, towering over Grayson. You just handed them everything they needed to stop us. Grayson stood, trying to defend himself. I did what I thought was best. There's no best when you sell out your own species. Marcus shouted, cutting him off. If the aliens adapt to our weapon because of you, every life lost will be on your head. The argument escalated quickly, drawing attention from nearby personnel. Within minutes, news of Grayson's betrayal spread through the bunker like wildfire. Soldiers muttered angrily, some glaring at the general as he was escorted away under heavy guard. Public outrage erupted when footage of the confrontation was broadcast live worldwide, a desperate attempt by leaders to maintain transparency. As chaos unfolded, Alina watched silently, clutching the weapon prototype. Humanity's darkest hour had revealed its greatest weakness, fear, but it had also shown its strength, unity forged in the face of betrayal. This ends now, Marcus said firmly, addressing the team. No matter what happens next, we finish this. Alina nodded, steeling herself. They couldn't afford to falter, not when Earth's survival depended on them. Would you like me to continue writing Part 7 in the same style? The bunker buzzed with renewed urgency. Betrayal had shaken everyone, but it also ignited a fire within them, a fierce determination to prove that humanity wasn't just defined by its failures. Soldiers sharpened their weapons, engineers double-checked every system, and civilians volunteered in droves to help however they could. The alien fleet loomed larger than ever on radar screens, its ships moving closer to Earth's surface, as if daring humanity to make one final stand. Commander Marcus Hale stood at the center of it all, barking orders while keeping his team focused. We've got one shot at this, he reminded them during a briefing. If we fail, there won't be another chance. Alina Voss worked tirelessly alongside Sarah Chen, fine-tuning the weapon powered by the alien crystal. They'd integrated feedback from early tests, adjusting the device to handle the immense surge of energy from the orbital arrays. The prototype was sleek and compact, resembling a futuristic rifle, but its true power lay in its ability to adapt, just like the alien element itself. If everything goes according to plan, Alina explained, pointing to schematics projected onto the wall, the weapon will emit pulses of adaptive energy strong enough to disrupt the alien shields. Once their defenses are down, conventional weapons should be able to finish the job. But what happens if the shields don't drop? Asked Corporal Liam O'Connor, his voice laced with skepticism. "Then we improvise," Marcus interjected firmly. "We've come too far to let doubt creep in now." Meanwhile, Captain Raj Patel prepared the transport fleet, dozens of spacecraft retrofitted with reinforced hulls and advanced propulsion systems. Pilots trained relentlessly, simulating high-risk maneuvers needed to breach the alien fleet's outer perimeter. Every pilot knew the odds were stacked against them. Most wouldn't return, yet not a single one hesitated to volunteer. As launch day approached, Alina made a startling discovery. Analyzing data from the alien crystal, she uncovered patterns suggesting the invaders weren't merely attacking, they were harvesting. Earth's resources, water, minerals, even atmospheric gases, were being systematically stripped away. The aliens' homeworld must have been dying, forcing them to seek survival elsewhere. This revelation hit Alina hard. Were they fighting monsters or desperate refugees? She shared her findings with Marcus privately. "Doesn't change anything," he said after a long pause. "They're killing us to save themselves. We can't afford pity right now." On the eve of the mission, humanity came together in ways no one thought possible. Cities darkened by alien attacks flickered back to life as survivors rallied behind the effort. Messages of hope flooded social media. Photos of families holding hands, children drawing pictures of rockets defeating alien ships, strangers offering prayers and words of encouragement. Even enemies set aside old grudges, united by a common cause. At sunrise, the team gathered for one last briefing. Marcus addressed them, his voice steady but filled with emotion. "Today, we fight not just for ourselves, but for everyone who's ever called this planet home. For those who came before us, and for those who'll come after, if we succeed. No matter what happens out there, remember this: humanity doesn't go down without a fight." With that, the group boarded their ships. Engines roared to life, shaking the ground beneath them. Above, the alien fleet waited, oblivious to the storm about to break over them. Pilots exchanged nervous glances, but kept their resolve firm. This was it. The moment they'd trained for, lived for, died for. As the first wave of spacecraft lifted off, piercing through Earth's atmosphere, Alina watched from the bunker's observation deck. Her heart pounded as she whispered a silent prayer. She had done everything she could. Now, it was up to the brave souls risking everything to deliver the weapon. The final battle was here. Would you like me to continue writing Part 8 in the same style? The sky above Earth burned with streaks of fire as dozens of human spacecraft surged toward the alien fleet. Engines roared, shaking the air like 1,000 thunderclaps. For the first time in days, humanity felt a flicker of hope, not because victory was certain, but because they were finally fighting back. Commander Marcus Hale led the charge from the cockpit of his heavily armored fighter. His knuckles were white on the controls, every muscle tense as he scanned the horizon. Ahead loomed the alien mothership, a colossal structure that dwarfed even the largest human vessels. Its surface shimmered ominously, pulsating with an eerie glow. Surrounding it were swarms of smaller drones, buzzing like insects protecting their hive. "This is it," Marcus muttered under his breath. "Let's show them what we're made of." Behind him, Captain Raj Patel maneuvered his ship into position, flanked by 2 other pilots. Their mission was clear: create a diversion so the second wave could slip past the outer defenses and deliver the weapon to the heart of the mothership. It was a suicide run for most of them, but no one hesitated. "Enemy drones incoming," shouted one of the pilots over the comms. Dozens of sleek alien fighters swooped down, firing beams of energy that lit up space like lightning strikes. The battle erupted instantly, chaotic and brutal. Human ships darted and rolled, dodging blasts while returning fire with everything they had. Explosions bloomed in the vacuum, sending debris spiraling outward. Raj gritted his teeth as he pulled into a sharp turn, narrowly avoiding a direct hit. "Stay close," he yelled to his wingman. Together, they unleashed a barrage of missiles, taking out several drones at once. But for every one they destroyed, 2 more seemed to take its place. Meanwhile, Marcus pushed deeper into enemy territory, drawing attention away from the second wave. His ship shuddered violently as an alien beam grazed its hull. Warning lights flashed across his dashboard, but he ignored them. He couldn't afford to fail. Not now. Back at the bunker, Alina Voss watched the live feed with bated breath. Each explosion, each loss, felt personal. She clenched her fists, muttering silent prayers for the team. Beside her, Sarah Chen monitored the weapon's status, ensuring it remained stable despite the chaos unfolding around it. "We're almost there," Sarah said, her voice trembling. On screen, the second wave of ships closed in on the mothership, shields holding steady against relentless attacks. At their lead was Lieutenant Sarah Chen herself, carrying the prototype weapon in her own craft. Her hand shook as she guided the ship closer, knowing one wrong move could mean disaster. Suddenly, a massive energy beam shot out from the mothership, obliterating several human fighters in an instant. Panic rippled through the comms channel. "They know we're coming," someone shouted. Marcus acted without hesitation. "All units, converge on my position. I'll draw their fire." His ship dove straight toward the source of the beam, triggering a swarm of drones to follow. Explosions rocked his vessel, but he held steady, buying precious seconds for the others. Behind him, Raj saw the opening and seized it. "Now," he barked. The remaining ships broke formation, racing toward the mothership's exposed core. As the team approached their target, Sarah activated the weapon. A low hum filled her cockpit as the alien crystal glowed brighter, absorbing energy channeled from the orbital arrays. The device pulsed with raw power, ready to unleash its payload. But just as they reached the final stretch, a drone rammed into Raj's ship. The impact sent his vessel spinning out of control. "Go," he screamed over the comms, sacrificing himself to clear a path. Tears streamed down Sarah's face as she watched his ship explode, but there was no time to mourn. The mission depended on her now. With the mothership's defenses crumbling, Sarah locked onto the target and fired the weapon. A blinding wave of adaptive energy surged forward, crashing into the alien shields. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, with a deafening crackle, the shields collapsed. "We did it," Sarah cried, her voice breaking. "Their defenses are down." Across the battlefield, surviving human ships regrouped, pouring everything they had into the vulnerable mothership. Explosions tore through its hull, lighting up the void like a supernova. But the cost had been immense. Ships lay scattered in ruins, their crews lost forever. As the dust settled, Marcus stared at the wreckage, his heart heavy but resolute. Humanity had struck a blow, but the war was far from over. "Would you like me to continue writing Part 9 in the same style?" The alien mothership groaned as its once impenetrable shields collapsed, leaving its core exposed and vulnerable. Human ships swarmed around it like bees attacking a hive, unleashing salvos of missiles and energy beams that tore through its metallic surface. Explosions rippled across its hull, sending shards of blackened debris spiraling into space. For the first time since the invasion began, humanity had gained the upper hand. But victory came at a devastating cost. Commander Marcus Hale watched grimly from his cockpit as another pilot's ship exploded in a fiery burst. The comms channel crackled with static, interspersed with cries of pain and despair. "Fall back to Sector 3, he ordered, his voice hoarse but firm. "Protect the weapon carrier." Lieutenant Sarah Chen was still alive. For now, her ship hovered near the crippled mothership, the prototype weapon glowing faintly in her hands. She knew she couldn't stay there for long. Enemy drones continued to swarm, desperate to destroy her before she could finish the job. Behind her, Captain Raj Patel's sacrifice had cleared a path, but the opening wouldn't last forever. "Sarah, you need to move." Marcus barked over the comms. His own ship was battered, smoke trailing from its engines, but he refused to retreat. Instead, he charged head-on into a group of alien fighters, drawing their fire away from her position. "I'll hold them off. I'm not leaving without finishing this," Sarah replied, her voice trembling but resolute. With a deep breath, she activated the weapon one final time. The alien crystal pulsed violently, absorbing energy channeled directly from the orbital arrays above Earth. The hum grew louder, almost deafening, as the device reached critical capacity. "Fire on my mark." Elena Voss's voice cut through the chaos from mission control. Back at the bunker, she monitored readings from the weapon, her eyes glued to the screen. Now. Sarah didn't hesitate. She aimed the weapon at the exposed core of the mothership and pulled the trigger. A blinding wave of adaptive energy surged forward, engulfing the alien vessel in a searing light. The impact was catastrophic. Entire sections of the mothership disintegrated instantly, and its central core imploded, creating a shockwave that rippled outward. The remaining alien ships faltered, their movements sluggish and erratic. Without the mothership coordinating their attacks, they seemed lost, confused. Some turned tail and fled deeper into space, while others drifted aimlessly, their systems failing. Humanity cheered, but only briefly. The battlefield was littered with wreckage, both alien and human. Many brave souls had given their lives to make this moment possible. As the surviving ships regrouped, Marcus surveyed the carnage, his heart heavy with grief. "We did it," he whispered, more to himself than anyone else. But at what cost? Back on Earth, people poured into the streets, hugging strangers and crying tears of relief. News outlets broadcast live footage of the damaged alien fleet retreating, declaring humanity's improbable victory. But amidst the celebration, questions lingered. Why had the aliens attacked? Would they return? Elena worked tirelessly to answer those questions. Analyzing data from the weapon's activation, she detected faint signals emanating from the remnants of the alien fleet. They weren't aggressive this time. They were distress calls. Fragments of communication hinted at desperation, fear, and regret. "They're not just invaders," Elena murmured to herself, staring at the readings. "They're dying." Her discovery sent shockwaves through mission control. Humanity had won the battle, but the war wasn't over, not yet. The aliens' motives remained unclear, and their survival hung in the balance. What should humanity do next? Finish them off or offer help? As dawn broke over Earth, the question weighed heavily on everyone's minds. The planet was scared, its cities reduced to rubble, but hope flickered in the hearts of survivors. Maybe, just maybe, this could be the start of something new. A chance to rewrite the story between two species bound by tragedy. Would you like me to continue writing part 10 in the same style? The Earth was quiet for the first time in weeks. The skies, once filled with the ominous shadows of alien ships, were now eerily empty. Smoke still rose from ruined cities, and scars marred the landscape, but humanity had survived. Verily. In the underground bunker, Dr. Elena Voss stood before a group of world leaders, her face pale but determined. She held up a tablet displaying fragments of decoded signals intercepted from the retreating alien fleet. "They're not just invaders," she explained, her voice steady despite the weight of her words. "Their homeworld is dying. They came here out of desperation, not malice." The room fell silent as the implications sank in. These beings, who had caused so much destruction, weren't conquerors in the traditional sense. They were refugees, driven by survival instincts no different from those that had propelled humanity through its darkest hours. Commander Marcus Hale stepped forward, his expression grim but thoughtful. "So what do we do now? Let them come back and finish what they started?" "No," Elena replied firmly. "But maybe we don't have to destroy them either. If we can communicate, if we can show them there's another way, then maybe this doesn't end in more bloodshed." Her suggestion sparked heated debate among the leaders. Some argued that mercy was a luxury humanity couldn't afford. Others believed it was their moral duty to extend a hand, even to those who had wronged them. In the end, the decision rested on one simple truth. Humanity couldn't endure another war like this. If peace was possible, even an uneasy truce, it had to be pursued. Using the alien crystal and remnants of their technology, Elena and her team devised a message. It wasn't written in words or symbols, but in patterns of energy, mimicking the aliens' own method of communication. The message was simple yet profound. We are here. We will fight if we must, but we wish to understand. Days passed without response. Humanity held its breath, rebuilding what it could while preparing for the worst. Then, finally, a signal returned, a faint pulse, hesitant and cautious. The aliens acknowledged the message. They're willing to talk, Elena announced during a global broadcast, her voice trembling with emotion. It won't be easy. They've lost trust in us, and we've lost trust in them. But if both sides are willing to try, then maybe we can find a way forward. Survivors around the world watched the broadcast, their faces reflecting a mix of hope and skepticism. Cities began to rise again, brick by brick, powered by a fragile optimism. Teams of scientists, diplomats, and engineers worked tirelessly to establish contact, laying the groundwork for a tentative alliance. Months later, representatives from both species met aboard a neutral space station constructed using combined human and alien technology. The encounter was tense but peaceful. Through translators and shared gestures, humanity learned the full scope of the aliens' plight. Their planet ravaged by environmental collapse, their people facing extinction. In return, the aliens expressed remorse for the devastation they'd caused, pledging to help repair some of the damage. It wasn't perfect. Old wounds ran deep, and suspicion lingered on both sides. But for the first time, two vastly different species stood face to face, united by a common goal: survival. As Commander Marcus Hale looked out at the stars from the observation deck of the space station, he felt a strange sense of pride. Humanity had been pushed to its limits and beyond, but it hadn't broken. Instead, it had grown stronger, wiser, and more resilient. Maybe this is how it starts, he murmured, half to himself. Not with conquest, but with understanding. Behind him, Elena joined him at the window, her eyes reflecting the glow of distant stars. A new dawn, she said softly. And for the first time in a long time, the future didn't seem so dark. The end.